I'm going to show you how to add fractions with unlike units using the strategy of creating equivalent fractions. Let's begin. So, can we add 3 adults and 4 adults? Yes, 3 adults plus 4 adults equals 7 adults. Can we add 5 children and 8 adults? We can, but they wouldn't end up being children in the end or adults in the end. So what do we have to do in order to add 5 children and 8 adults? We have to find a common unit. So what is every child and what is all adults? They're all humans. They're all people. You could use that as your common unit. So 5 plus 8 is 13. So we have 13 people. 5 children plus 8 adults equals 13 people. This is the same as what will happen in fractions. You have to find a common unit before you can add. Let's try it. So here we have 1/3 plus 1/2. Well, can we add 1/3 plus 1/2? Not the way that they are because they're different units. So we've got to make 1/3 and 1/2 have a common denominator. That means the number on the bottom, the denominator, has to be the same. So I know 3 and 2 are different, so I cannot add these numbers the way that they are. So I need to find an equivalent fraction to 1/3 and an equivalent fraction to 1/2. They both have the same denominator, and then I can add. So I'm going to think back to my first lesson, okay, where I made 1/3. So this shows 1/3, okay. Now I'm going to split it in the opposite direction to show 1/2. Here's 1/2. So 1/3, an equivalent fraction to 1/3 is 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. So 1/3 is equivalent to 2/6. Okay, 1/3, again, times 2 over 2, because 1 times 2 is 2, and 3 times 2 is 6, makes 2/6 equivalent. Now let's try that for 1/2. When we have 1/2, we see 1, 2, 3 squares in this 1/2 section out of 6 squares total. So 1/2 is equivalent to 3/6. And that is multiplying by 3 over 3, because 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 3 is 6. So now 1/3 is equivalent to 2/6. We can add that to 1/2, which is equivalent to 3/6. Now are our denominators the same? Yes, and we know that when we add fractions, our denominators have to be the same because that's going to be the denominator in the end. We do not add the denominators. So 6 always stays the same. We add our numerators. 2 plus 3 is 5. So 2/6 plus 3/6 equals 5/6, which means that 1/3 plus 1/2 equals 5/6. Let's try another problem. All right, let's try another problem. We have 2/3 plus 3/5. So I'm going to draw to show 2/3, and this right here is 2/3. I'm going to split in the other direction to show 3/5. Now 2/3 and 3/5 looks like their common denominator is what both of these would be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So my denominator is going to be 15 for both. So 2/3 is going to equal something over 15, and 3/5 is going to equal something over 15. It looks like 3/5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 15ths. So we did 3 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15. So we multiplied 3/5 times 3 over 3 to get 9 15ths. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 3 is 15. So 3/5 is equal to 9 15ths. And 2/3, it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 15ths. So it looks like we multiplied by 5 over 5. Because 2 times 5 is 10, and 3 times 5 is 15. So we have 10 15ths plus 9 15ths. Remember, when adding, we only add our numerators together. Our denominator, which is the bottom number, stays the same. So my denominator is going to be 15, and 10 plus 9 is 19. So my answer is 19 15ths. Now, most of your teachers are not going to like that you leave 19/15ths because it's an improper fraction. That means the numerator is bigger than the denominator or larger than the denominator. So we've got to pull a whole number out of that improper fraction. So I know the denominator is going to be 15, and I know that one whole is always a number over itself. So it's 15/15. That's one whole. So the answer is going to be 1, and whatever's left over, 19 minus 15 is 4. That's going to be my numerator over the original denominator of 15. So the answer is 1 and 4/15. So 2/3 plus 3/5 equals 1 and 4/15. Let's try another problem. We've got 3/8. I'm going to split into 8s. And I'm going to focus on the 3 of them. So that's 3/8. And I'm going to add it to 2/3. Well, to find my common denominator, I'm going to split it into thirds. And I'm going to show this is 2/3. So my denominator, in this case, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So my denominator is going to be 24. So 3/8 times a fraction equals something over 24. And 2/3 times a fraction equals something over 24. Now I, on this time, am not going to look at my model. I want to see if I can do this without my model. So if I look, I know 8 times a number has to equal 24. I know that 8 times 3 is 24. So if that number in the denominator is 3, and I'm multiplying by 1, I know my numerator has to be 3 as well. So I'm going to multiply 3/8 times 3/3 to get an equivalent fraction. So 8 times 3 is 24, and 3 times 3 is 9. So 3/8 is equivalent to 9/24. Now I've got to do the same thing with 2/3. I've got to look. 3 times what equals 24? I know that 3 times 8 is 24. So this has to be 8/8 because that equals 1. So 3 times 8 is 24. 2 times 8 is 16. So I have 16/24. Now that my denominators are the same, I can add my fractions. I know that my denominator is always the same. So 24 stays the same. I do not ever add my denominators. So my denominator is 24. I need to add 9 plus 16, which is 25. So I have 25 over 24, which again is improper. I want you to go ahead and pause your video and see if you can write 25/24 as a mixed number, meaning it has a whole number and a fraction. So if you pulled 24/24 out of that, that's one whole. And then 25 minus 24 was 1 in your original denominator of 24. So 3/8 plus 2/3 equals 1 and 1 over 24. This time I'm going to let you start. I want you to find a common denominator between 4/5 and 1/2. I want you to pause your video, find a common denominator for 5 and 2, and then come back. So your common denominator, this is split fifths, here's 4/5. This is split halves, here's halves. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my common denominator is going to be 10. So I need to change 4/5 to a denominator of 10, and I need to change 1/2 to a denominator of 10. I know that 5 times 2 is 10, so I have to do 2 over 2, so 4/5 times 2 over 2. 5 times 2 is 10, 4 times 2 is 8. So I have 8/10. So 4/5 is equivalent to 8/10. Now I have 1/2. 2 times what equals 10? I know that 2 times 5 is 10, so I'm going to do it times 5 over 5. So 2 times 5 is 10, 1 times 5 is 5. So 1/2 is equivalent to 5/10. Now that my denominators are the same, I can add. Go ahead and pause and add your fractions. So I have 13, sorry, that's an equal sign, tenths as my answer. Go ahead and pause again and change that to a mixed number. If you said you'd pull 10 tenths out of here, which is 1, and then you'd have 3 tenths left over, you are correct. 4/5 plus 1/2 is 1 and 3 tenths. Let's try one more problem. What happens if we have 3 fractions to add, like 3/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/2? Well, we still have to find common denominators. So, when we find common denominators, we can split it into fourths, okay? And then we can split into halves. This will tell us one common denominator. There could be more, but we're going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as our common denominator. So I'm going to use 3/4 times a fraction equals something over 8. I'm going to do 1/4 times a fraction equals something over 8. And I'm going to do 1/2 times something equals something over 8. So 4, I know that 4 times 2 is 8. So this has to be 2 over 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. So this has to be 2 over 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. So this has to be 4 over 4, and 1 times 4 is 4. So 6/8 is equivalent to 3/4. 2/8 is equivalent to 1/4. And 4/8 is equivalent to 1/2. Now that they're all the same denominator, we can add. Remember, the denominators stay the same. So our denominator for our answer is going to be 8. We have to add our numerators. 6 plus 2 is 8, and 8 plus 4 is 12. I have 12/8. I'm going to leave this at 12/8, and I want you to come in tomorrow with the mixed number that is equivalent to 12/8. Thanks for watching.